Good morning and welcome to the Accessibility and Disability Policy webinar series. My name is Randy Turner and I'm the Accessibility and Disability Rights Coordinator at the Governor's Committee on People with Disabilities. This month we celebrate the 75th anniversary of National Disability Employment Awareness Month with a selection of webinars putting Texas back to work. Today's focus is just that, putting Texas back to work, and is co-hosted by our friends at the Texas Workforce Commission. So I'm going to turn it over to Emily. Emily, just take it away. It's all yours.
Thank you, Randy, and good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Lawley. I am the Manager of Education and Workforce Development Outreach here at the Texas Workforce Commission in the Office of Employer Initiatives. We're here this morning to speak about several of our programs here in the Office of Employer Initiatives. And I am joined by my colleague, Matt Snidecki. And with that, I will actually turn it over to Matt to introduce himself and to get started.
Thank you, Emily. And I want to give a special thanks to Randy and Melinda for having us today. What a neat way to celebrate the 75th anniversary. We're really happy to be with you today. Again, my name is Matt Snidecki. I'm the program manager for the Skills for Small Business grant. And that's an employer grant that we have that helps assist employers in the state of Texas train and upskill their workforce. So we have several grants that we're going to talk about today. And the first one is actually kind of our flagship program, and that's our Skills Development Fund program. So the Skills Development Program, as I said, is kind of our flagship umbrella grant for employers in the state of Texas. It's been around for a little bit, so I wouldn't be shocked if most of the folks on this phone had either heard of it or were familiar with the program in some capacity. So as you can see, the legislator actually passed legislation to approve the program in 1995, and it was implemented for its first year in 1996. Give you a little bit more information about the funding aspect. All the funding for this program is state general revenue funds. And I think that backs the program a little bit because for general revenue funds, if the program's not working, they're probably going to find another use for those funds. So we have a pretty good track record since 96 of having this program funded. And you can see on the right there, that per biennium, we actually approved this program for $44 million. So the reach and impact of this program is not only felt and noticed by employers across the state, but recognized as a beneficial program by the legislature. This program is meant to impact folks in the state of Texas, employers who need a customized training regimen, someone that they can sit down with. And we do this through partnerships with our community college and state technical schools all across the state. So if you are a part of an employer who could use any sort of customized training in Texas, especially with the goal of increasing skills and wages, who doesn't want that? Then this could be a program that could fit the training needs for your company. The next program I'm going to talk about is actually very similar, but the target audience is a little different. The next program is actually the Skills for Small Business program. And this is the program I specifically monitor with TWC. The interesting caveat about this program, very similar to SDF, however, instead of providing customized training, we still partner with those same community and state technical colleges. However, with this program, the courses that they offer in their general course catalog, their public course catalog, that is what is available for training. So that could be anything from leadership and management skills to soft skills, to computer training from Excel and Microsoft Word. So really, you know, the spectrum of courses that are eligible and applicable for under SSB is truly astounding. And again, the reach and support for this program across the state has been fascinating to see over the past couple years. With this program, for new hires, and that's anyone who's been with the company for less than 12 years, those folks are eligible for $1,800 worth of training in a calendar year. I think everyone on the call would be fascinated by how much training you can get done at your local community college for $1,800. For employers or employees, excuse me, who have been with the company for less than or longer than 12 months, we call those folks incumbent workers. They're eligible for half of that amount at $900. And again, you can still take quite a few courses with $900. The next grant opportunity we have is actually one of our newer opportunities. And it's actually a little bit of a hybrid of the two programs I just spoke of, and that is our Skills COVID-19 Training Initiative. And obviously this was created about 6 months ago once we realized that COVID was really affecting businesses, not only nationwide, but really in the state of Texas. So this program, again, a little bit of a hybrid between the last two. It's actually conceptually the SDF grant with the application process of the Skills for Small Business grant. So again, we're still working with our community colleges and technical colleges, our workforce boards and TEACS, which is the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service. I don't want to say that one too fast. And this was approved by our commission to provide $10 million in grant awards to provide rapid response training to business partners throughout the state of Texas to either help assist keep their doors open or keep folks employed, because so many folks were put on unemployment or furloughed during the past 6 months. And that was one really neat caveat of this program, is that we were able to allow folks who were unemployed and furloughed to still take advantage and receive training. And again, typically you want to see how beneficial or what the reach and support of a program is. You can follow the money, and the commission actually approved an additional $5 million of funding on August 11th to keep funding these grantees who are providing essential training to businesses all across the state. Currently, we have 50 grantees providing training, 10 workforce development boards, and 40 community and technical colleges across the state. So if there's anything that we can do to help you in your areas or connect you with these grantees providing these trainings, it is a wonderful opportunity to upskill, and what a better time to upskill than now. And so I think that's it for me, and I'm going to pass it back to Emily to talk about the Self-Sufficiency Fund.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, so the next program we would like to discuss is the Self-Sufficiency Fund, or SSF, as you will see it sometimes. And this program assists adult recipients of TANF and SNAP benefits and individuals earning less than $37,000 annually with a dependent child or an individual at risk of becoming dependent on public assistance. So it offers training in occupational skills, earning that industry recognized certification to help these folks gain employment. So as you can, the target cost per trainee is $2,100, and applicants can receive up to $500,000. And training must be in one of those targeted industry clusters. And so one of the exciting things about these programs, and we've spoken about this before, but how we are trying to get our workforce is every single Texan. And so a lot of our programs you'll see include opportunities for that, including with SSF. An example is the Burgess School of Work in Dallas provides job training skills to youth with disabilities in hospitality. And the past 4 years, they have received an SSF grant for $252,000 a year to train 120 participants. And each year, they were successful in employing at least 100 youth with disabilities. So showing that our programs are helping all Texans with training. And I will say at the end of this presentation, we have a slide with helpful links and contact information for all these programs. So even though you don't see it in these slides, please know you'll have all the contact information that you would like. So the next grant program I would like to discuss is our High Demand Job Training Program, HDJT. And this program is a matching grant program between the local workforce development boards and the economic development corporations, or EDCs, helping them to build capacity. So the workforce board can match up to $150,000 with the economic development corporation in a multitude of ways, as you can see, for job search, for equipment, minor renovations to facilities. And so then the next program is actually very similar to high demand job training, and that is the Texas Industry Partnership Grant Program, TIP. So this program works very much like high demand. However, instead of partnering with the local economic development corporation, the partner is local industry, whether that be industry or industry foundations. So that is who provides the match for these TIP grants. And so then the next program I would like to discuss is the JET grant program, Jobs and Education for Texans program. This program provides grants to public, community, state, and technical colleges and independent school districts to purchase and install equipment necessary for the development of those CTE courses or programs that lead to a license, certificate, or post-secondary degree in a high-demand occupation. The legislature moved this program over to the Workforce Commission back in 2015, and that's when they included independent school districts as eligible offers. And the biennium that we're in, FY 2021, we've been allocated $8 million per fiscal year, so $16 million to the biennium, which is an increase of $6 million from the previous biennium, thanks to our commissioners, who their #1 legislative appropriations request last legislative session was additional funding for the program, asking to move from $10 million for the biennium to $16 million, because this program has been so vital to communities and to schools to help them grow and foster these CTE courses or programs. Another example of how our programs are working together here at TWC, a couple of years ago, Coastal Bend College received a JET grant for their welding program. And when they were putting this new equipment into their facility, in these welding booths, several of their welding booths that they put in were wheelchair accessible. So a lot of the equipment that they were purchasing was to make sure that every Texan in their community is able to be trained. So then the next slide, I believe. So going back to the Skills Development Fund, Texas is a very large state, as each and every one of you are aware. So here in our division, in the Office of Employer Initiatives, we have the Skills Development Fund outreach team. And these folks are regionally assigned to cover and help the Skills Development Fund, Skills for Small Business, the Skills COVID-19 Special Initiative. And so as you can see, and I know this is kind of small, but some folks live in the region. We have Muriel Borders, who lives in El Paso covering West Texas. We have Sonia Valdez living down in the Valley covering South Texas. Christina DeWitty living in Houston. So these folks are boots on the ground, helping us spread the word and helping us to develop these grants at a local level. So if you ever have questions or would like a contact, these would be a great resource for you. So then the next slide. So again, this is the helpful links and contact information. So we do have a web page. Each program has its own web page and email address. So Skills and SDF have one web page, 2 different email addresses: Skills for Small Business, and then Self-Sufficiency Fund. And then the next page is just a continuation, High Demand and TIP, the JET grant program. And JET, I will mention with JET's handled a little differently than our other programs in the sense of that it's an RFA, a request for applications. So it is a competitive grant process. Just wanted to make that clear. And then again, the contact email addresses for Matt and myself. So if you have questions afterwards, you think of something later, please reach out. Please let us know. We are here to help. Our whole team is here to help. So thank you so much for your time this morning. Matt, thank you so much. And with that, I will turn it over to Melinda Paninsky.
Hey, Emily, thanks so much. Okay, so as everyone is making note in the chat, yes, there are a lot of grants and it's a lot of overwhelming information. So Emily, if you don't mind just saying really quick again, is there a main website they can go to, or is it best to just email you guys individually to get kind of a snapshot of all of these different grants?
So actually, Melinda, what I will do is email you. We have a PDF one-pager.
Great.
For the grants.
Yeah.
And that way it gives a snippet about each one and
Great.
email address for each one. So I think that would probably be the best way for each program. However, if anyone has questions about any of these programs, you can always reach out to Matt or myself and we can point you in the right direction and get you the information that you need.
Awesome.
There's a lot of different opportunities.
I know as we moved over to TWC a few years ago, the vocational rehab program, you know, we all live in our own world, right? And so when we came over and saw all of the programs and opportunities that you guys have for job seekers and Texas employers, it was just, it was a lot, and I'm still processing.
Really good.
Melinda, we do have a couple of questions in our Q&A area. What are the high demand areas?
High demand areas, that is a really good question. So as I mentioned before, Texas is a very large state. And so with our 28 local workforce boards and working through those workforce boards, you know, that's kind of handled at a local level to determine what those high demand needs and occupations are. So that is something that when Robert Andrade and the team work to develop a high demand job training grant, working with that local workforce board to determine what those high demand needs are.
Thank you. That's the only one I have, I believe, so far.
So let me just make sure, Emily. So for those individuals, they need to look on their local workforce solutions board website, and that would identify the high demand areas in that area.
So yes, each workforce board does have a targeted occupations list. However, sometimes I think it's worth a conversation. That's a great start, but I think sometimes it can be almost even bigger than that. It can be so that yes, but I think it's always worth a conversation with, you know, our team and with that local workforce board to figure out the specific needs of what they could do with that grant.
Great. Awesome. I think the big takeaway is for everyone to see there are lots of opportunities for employers to upskill their workforce, to connect with training centers, whether it be the local high schools or training facilities, to help partner to train a workforce so that they have more valuable employees in their industry, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love, Emily, thank you so much for saying that, you know, these opportunities are for all Texans who are looking for employment or looking for careers. And I think that's the one really great thing that we've seen time and time again is that you don't have to be a VR customer to be a part of these programs. Not always. If you need accommodations and support, yes, likely that VR is going to be involved to help support that, as we talked about yesterday in our webinar series. But if not, you know, a lot of people don't self-identify as a person with a disability just because there's not an accommodation need. Feel free, there's folks participating in these things every day. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Melinda. Thanks,
Melinda.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, so this was a lot of information that we just wanted to lightly tap into you guys from our Office of Employer Initiatives within the Workforce Commission. They are very busy helping Texas businesses and job seekers get these training programs and opportunities. So we mentioned the Workforce Commission is at the state level. So these opportunities are really afforded at the local area. So So we have 28 local workforce boards across the state of Texas, and those boards can apply for many of these grant opportunities through the Workforce Commission. And so those are then administered at the local level, because we all know, right, things happen locally. So that's where we want to go next. We want to make sure that you understand how it can apply to your local area and the folks that you're working with. I would like to introduce Richard Martinez. Richard is with VIA Metropolitan Transit System in San Antonio. And I fondly refer to him as the instigator, because he is been working very hard to bring together this great group of folks you're going to hear from to really put into action some of the grants that you've just heard about. So Richard, would you like to kind of share a little bit about your role in bringing the right people together for this opportunity?
Oh, sure. Also, I'd like to point out that I am a member of the Governor's Committee on People with Disabilities, who is sponsoring this webinar. Well,
yes, you are.
Basically, it all started as a discussion. As you know, I work for the local bus company. In discussion with my colleagues, my supervisor, we had been talking to some vendors who recognized that it's sometimes difficult to get trained employees. So this led to a concept. Gee, you know, we're VIA, we're entrenched in the community. Maybe we can offer something. So the concept came out of a discussion, which then led to a phone call. Called Sonia Valdez with TWC, who represents South Texas. And I just kind of gave her the idea. And she said, you know what? Let's talk to Rick Garcia from Alamo Workforce Solutions. So we made that pitch. Fortunately, the pitch went very, very well, which then led to a partnership. One of the things that we often say in the Committee on People with Disabilities, nothing for us without us. So a part of this sponsorship was to, partnership was to bring in local deaf advocacy groups. We figure if we're going to create a program, we need to have folks who are engaged and a part of the community. Fortunately, all these were very well received. Also, too, the idea of having a class for deaf people really came out of a chance meeting I had several years ago with Jason Shaw, who is a deaf electrician in the Austin area and one of the co-founders of the Deaf Chamber of Commerce. So we were able to put local advocates, our bus company, the trainer, Alamo Workforce Solutions, Texas Workforce Commission, several divisions within the Workforce Commission to create this partnership where we all have the same goals and challenges. And very roughly, the process from concept to execution, because the class will be held in November, was 6 months. So it's really astounding how different groups of folks came together with a common goal. And I look forward to sometime in the future giving everyone here and the committee an update on the progress of the class. And also, I'm also very hopeful that this will lead to other opportunities. It's very preliminary, but there's some very early discussions on having aviation mechanics training for deaf students. So if anything, I'd be very willing to talk to anyone from any part of our great state of Texas. Perhaps we can serve as a model that we can share and duplicate in South Texas, West Texas, East Texas, North Texas. And again, thank you for your time. Let me know if you have any questions.
Great, and a good instigator you are. So I think you heard Richard talk a lot about all the partners, and that's essential. So we know nothing comes easily from one organization. As we talked about in our series yesterday, it takes many partners to bring great opportunities to all individuals. And so we thank Richard and his role, and for the role that VIA plays in supporting their customer base in San Antonio and helping them with their training and employment needs, getting to and from. So thanks, Richard. So we've talked about who the instigator was. So now let's talk to the local workforce board that actually applied for the grant and received the grant. So Rick, are you with us this morning?
Yes, I am. Good
Great.
morning.
Thanks for joining us. So tell us a little bit about your role.
Okay, I'd like to start off with a story. Back in March of this year, my wife and I traveled to New Braunfels for a project called Homes for Heroes. And so we drove to New Braunfels, which is about an hour away from San Antonio. And we went into this large subdivision where we saw a lot of construction going on. Our role that day was to help assemble furniture and get the house ready for a disabled vet and his young family. That same day, I got a call from TWC, Mr. Robert Hernandez, and it was during the week, and he wanted to know, well, he wanted to tell me about some exciting news about the Skills Development Fund, COVID-19 special initiative. He wanted to set up a meeting. I told him what I was doing, where I was at. He said, okay, call me back. And then fast forward to June of 2009, or 2020 rather, we were awarded $250,000 for the Skills Development Fund COVID-19 special initiative. The Texas Workforce Commission offered us an opportunity to work with employers to train their full-time employees, permanent full-time employees, their laid off workers, or the new hires. And the other option, and with the help of the guidance of TWC's Sonia Valdez, and the fact that we had over 280,000 unemployment insurance claimants in our area, made it easy for us to determine that helping the job seekers would be the best bet. Plus, Alamo colleges received a similar amount, and they were already working with the employers. So it made a lot of sense for us to help the job seekers. And so how we determine the industries, going back to what I saw firsthand in New Braunfels, the construction of homes and the construction in our area, in our region, and then the high demand of healthcare and information technology. So those three industries had a lot of impact. And so in our decision to pursue them, and then enter the partnerships that Richard Martinez was talking about, the partnership with Via Transit, with VRS, with Texas Workforce Commission, and our training providers like Lone Star Construction, Digital Creative. That information put us all together. We agreed on a plan. Our first training plan was to provide training for an all-women class, and this class was going to be pre-apprenticeship in electrical. This was non-traditional for females, and so we set up the first class and the date, and then we submitted an application. The Texas Workforce Commission made it very simple for us to submit an application. There was two forms for the providers. One was the course description with the title, the description of the course, the outcomes, and then the training request, which was a little bit more detailed and had information about the cost, the training hours, labor market information, the wages. And then we asked for something else to help us justify to the Texas Workforce Commission that this was a demand occupation. And so we asked Lone Star Trades to help us get a letter of support, and they did. They were able to get a letter of support from the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and they stated that construction workers, electricians were in demand. So we used that letter, sent it in, and within one day, we got the approval from TWC. So our role at Workforce Solutions is to plan, coordinate, execute, and report out. We do outreach and recruitment. We do pre-screening of the individuals. We collect data, we share the information with the training provider, and then we maintain contact with our partners and also the training provider. We collect the attendance, the progress, the certificates at the end, and then we process the invoices for payment. And then we schedule any future classes with the training provider. One of the keys, a key reason for the progress of this particular grant is the partnerships, like Richard spoke about. Partnering is a must. Projects like these are too big for us or for any one organization to accomplish alone. Together, we can contribute, work together, and provide the information and the resources to job seekers so they can benefit.
Great.
Thank you.
That's awesome, Rick. That is exactly it. So no small role on your part through Workforce, Alamo Workforce. You guys are apply for the grant, then you're making sure they are the right applicants for the program, providing that to the training center. And the added piece that this particular program we're talking about, this electrical training for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing, they do need to be part of the vocational rehabilitation program. So we spent some time in yesterday's webinar talking about what vocational rehabilitation is and how it assists job seekers with getting training and being employed, staying employed. This program, our role and the VR program's role in this opportunity is the support services. So to ensure there are ASL interpreters available for individuals during the training, VR is supporting that cost and other support services those individuals need. So thank you, Rick. Thank you so much for all of what Workforce is doing. We appreciate your partnership.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. So we've talked about the opportunities, how to apply for them, and how anyone can apply to be a part of these programs. The training centers, the workforce boards, we are very grateful for all of these opportunities. Now let's talk to the people who work to make it happen, who get us a trained workforce. And Darcy, I'm going to pass it over to you if you want to tell us a little bit about the electrical training program you guys are doing.
Okay, well, hi, my name is Darcy Brennan, and I am the program director and co-founder of Lone Star Construction Trades Training. My friend Rebecca and I started this because we're mirrored after a program tried and true from Alaska. It's called Alaska Works Partnership. Rebecca was employed for over 5 years from doing that. So she would travel all over the state of Alaska and teach pre-apprenticeship electrical. Alaska Works Partnership also does other trades, which we are working on getting approved to do that now. So the only reason we did electrical is because we're both journeyman electrician, and we could teach that at very little cost and not ask anyone to do that for us. So about our program, electricians are short, and they are going to continue to, we're not going to have enough electricians to do all the work out there for us. So we also know that we want more women in the trade. It was a little rough when we went through it. So the more women, the easier it will be. This is our true passion. So women are a little bit, they don't know the opportunities there until you tell them. And even though you tell them, they still don't believe it. So if you give them an opportunity to try it out and show them that they can do it, they do great. And that was true with working with Rick Garcia was awesome. And that first women's class we had was amazing. Every one of those women were rock stars. They did great. It's not an easy training. It's very busy and all hands on. Nobody sits around and looks through PowerPoint. It's all hands on. So they did great. We still have people applying to the apprenticeships. One did not get accepted the first time. She's got to get a little bit of experience, which now we're working with her to get more experience out there. I'm kind of going all over the place. Sorry.
You're doing great. Darcy,
I'm new at this.
So let me just ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Yes, please do.
Oh, so what I love about your program is that you are a partner. We have weekly calls now to talk about the progress of getting folks into this very specialized program. And you talk about the opportunities are endless. So
Yes.
the short supply of electricians is definitely out there. And when you guys started this initiative with Workforce Alamo in August, the women's only class, you guys just didn't train them and then let them go.
Oh,
You
no.
connected them. So tell a little bit about that piece.
Yeah, so anybody, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, anybody that has been in our trainings since 2018 has our phone numbers and we have theirs. They do contact us. The apprenticeship, an apprenticeship is a strange thing. It's not like you just walk in the door and say, I want to be in the apprenticeship and you get in. It's a process and we help them through that process. It's very confusing if you don't understand it. The only reason I do is because I went through an apprenticeship, so I know all about it. If the main problem is when they see for our women's training, the lack of experience. Women don't usually work in construction. Guys will go, build things and do things with their dads and stuff. And so that's experience. If a woman doesn't have that, then they kind of frown on that and go, well, I don't know if you'll like this. And so what we do then is we try to put them in this, help them get into the CW program, which is just a lower wage, but it gives them the experience they need. And then they just kind of roll over while they're applying to the apprenticeship. So they're getting paid while they're trying to get into the apprenticeship.
And the CW program is the construction worker. Is that what that is?
Yeah, construction electrician. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's they get some certification when they participate in your program, right?
Yes, they do get a cert at the end. They also have, we get their apprentice license, state of Texas apprentice license for them. They also have a link that allows them to take OSHA 10 online. It's what's required for them to go out to work. So they have to have it. It's up to them to do that during the week we're training. We tell them that in the first day.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Great. So it's very hands-on, very informative, yes. And it's beyond the 5 days, right?
Yeah, way beyond the 5 days.
Yeah. No, and that's important because a lot of times people can get trained and then things stop, right? So
we don't get lost.
Sure, it doesn't stop for them. And so this particular training program, deaf and hard of hearing focus. So you did a women focus. This particular focus, was there a concern when you were approached about doing this opportunity?
Well, my first concern was safety, because safety is always number one, especially with electrical. And I thought, if someone's on the job site and something happens and someone goes, get out of the way or something, I was going, I don't know if we can do this. I don't know if it's safe. But instead of panicking, we kind of reached out and started asking questions. And we're still learning. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
We had a couple amazing ladies from Deaf Dreams come out, and we asked them the etiquette, because I don't know what's insulting to somebody that is, deaf. And so they helped us with that, which made us relax a lot. It wasn't as big of a deal as we were making it.
I love it. You're right. And Deaf Dreams is a great partner of this group too. They're definitely having some referrals come in through the program too. And so, I love that you say you didn't know, but you weren't afraid to ask, right? So we sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone and offer opportunities or welcome individuals for programs that we might not have normally thought could do something like that.
Yes.
So, thank you guys, Darcy. So Darcy, the flyer for this program is on the screen now, and it will also be available later. This program is only available to 10 individuals at this point. It's an application-based program. You do need to first contact Vocational Rehab, and Maggie Cromean's name is on the flyer. Thank you, Maggie, for the work you and Jamila are doing to assist folks and navigating them into this program. Again, the partners are endless. Don't get caught up on the organizations. Just know that you have to have partners to do programs like this. And we hope that by hearing all of the things that are going on with these programs, other communities will embrace expanding their training programs and their workforce. Randy, do we have Aurora? Did she get a chance to join us yet? I haven't seen an email from her, but I wasn't sure if she did.
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Darcy, anything else you want to close with before I move on?
Yeah, I forgot to add that we are completely mobile. If anyone
That's
wants
right.
an electrical training, we can go anywhere in the state of Texas. Alaska, we had to jump on airplanes. We don't have to do that here. We can drive. So NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction, raised money and bought us an enclosed trailer and had it wrapped with our logo. So now we can travel anywhere to do trainings.
So you're working with Alamo Workforce for these particular programs, and then am I right? You're moving with Capital Area Workforce, working with them soon?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes.
We're so glad to have you do that. And thank you so much, Darcy. You and Rebecca both. We welcome your partnership in other areas too. So, and Maggie just put her contact information in the chat, I see. So feel free to reach out to her via her phone number and email she just provided. So Aurora wasn't able to join us. She had a conflict this morning, and Rick mentioned Digital Creative Institute, and they also have a program. Rick alluded to the high industries being construction and digital technology. And so that program is also up and running and training, and individuals from the vocational rehab program are participating in that as well. Their training courses aren't a target population, but they're very inclusive, and they've been working with our voc rehab staff to understand and provide the needed accommodations for individuals. And I know the vocational rehab staff, that's what they really want to do is for you to ask the question, how do we make this accessible? How do we work with others to make this happen for individuals? With that, I think we've gone through our presentations for the day. Randy, were there any questions that we needed to address or any additional information we needed to share?
I don't have any other questions. Do we want to wait just a second to see if anyone in our audience would like to throw a question this way?
Sure, and they need to put that in the question box, correct?
Sure. That'd be great.
All right.
We do have 2 more sessions scheduled. If you go to our website, and I'll put it in the chat box, I can give you the information for the next 2 sessions, which will be the 27th and 28th, I believe. Melinda,
Yes, they are, and I'll go over it when you put that. Yep. So the one on the 27th will be with Melissa Chapa. She will be sharing talking to employers about retaining a workforce of individuals that have acquired a disability on the job. As I stated yesterday in one of our webinars, over 83% of disabilities are actually acquired in life, not something that someone is born with. So we want to make sure that employers and individuals understand that acquiring a disability does not mean you have to stop what you were doing. It's just maybe let's adjust. Let's change the way we may have done things before. So that will be Valissa, on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we have a great group of folks that will be sharing with you the Work in Texas tool on how to apply for and connect with employers through that website. They're going to be looking at the basics of how to get in, the various features, and some accessibility features within that tool. So those are our next 2 webinars coming up, celebrating this month for us.
Well, I don't see any questions, Melinda, so I guess we'll close for today. Thank you to all our presenters. Thank you, Melinda, for coordinating this. The Workforce Commission, as well as the other staff there that we don't see on video camera. And to the rest of you, have a great rest of the day. The materials will be made available, and we'll let you know in the next couple of weeks how to obtain those. They are typically at our website, so they'll be posted soon. This is being recorded, somebody just asked, so it will be made available on our YouTube channel, probably by this afternoon. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.